Coach, if you'd like, we can start with an opening statement, and when he's finished, we'll open up the floor for questions.
Well, we know we're playing against a team that can compete with anybody in the country because they have, when you look at the people that they have played this year. And it's like a who's who of people that are in the NCAA tournament when you start to look at Duke, Kansas, Syracuse, and certainly the people that are in their league. So Temple is, for 6 straight years in the tournament, and Fran Dunphy having the great track record that he has as a coach, and the track record in this tournament is extremely strong. We've just kept trying to look for any similarities that we can bring to our team from our league, and it starts real quick when you get with Wyatt, and you can start making comparisons to Trey Burke and how he plays and how much the ball is in his hands, and not only the way that he shoots it, but the way that he delivers it, and we're used to that, and Wyatt, Khalif Wyatt takes a backseat to no one in the country right now when it comes to being a complete guard. So we're going to have to do an outstanding job there. But much like any other great team, if you spend too much time on one part of the team or one part of the game, then you're going to shortchange it in other places. And they are really, really good. We saw firsthand when we were in Puerto Rico when Christian and Jordan and Derek and Maurice were freshmen, just how good Jake O'Brien was when we played against Boston University when he was there playing for Pat Chambers. And we're very familiar now, with what Jefferson means to their team, what Randall means to their team, DeLeo, Cummings. They're just they're an all-around tough team, and they epitomize toughness to me because they extend possessions, they get back, they make it tough for you to score, they move the ball, they can drive it. There's not a ton of things that you would say that you're getting ready for and all the different offensive things that they do when it comes to all the different plays, but you certainly have to get ready for how good their players are. And it's a tall task. There's no doubt about it. And Steve McClain has been on top of this since Sunday night, so we feel like we're all pretty well versed in it right now. Our team is well versed in it with more time to get ready. And just like anything else this time of year, you've got to bring your best. You've got to bring your A game and your A attitude. I mean, to get ready to play. It sounds corny, but it's true, and that's exactly how we're approaching this.
Questions for Coach, right here in the front.
Coach, it's this team. Do you feel a sense that these guys understand that the clock's ticking each time the ball goes up for them playing together? And because Christian said that he just wants to play as long as possible with these guys. Do you feel that sense with them?
Maybe. I'm not locked into that. I'm more locked into just are we treating every part of what we're doing as the most important thing. But I'm sure that plays into it, absolutely. I want to be around them. So factors in for me. But I mean, the reason they're in the position that they're in, the reason that they won the league the way that they did is because they really do. They bring their preparation, they bring their focus, they bring a togetherness, they bring it all the time. And I think that just continues to compound. And it's certainly you want it to be at its peak this time of year. So if that helps put it at its peak, then I think that's really good.
Here in the back.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Good start for the Big Ten. I think 6-1 in the first game. Is that kind of what you would expect? And is it nice to not be beating up each other right now?
Well, I think the Big Ten's outstanding. I don't think there's any question about that. Nobody could argue it. And I think to just watch just a little bit that I've watched, and I didn't see a lot of the Michigan game, but I saw enough to see that, I mean, they were out and flying around and attacking. And I think the league prepares you for everything. And everything and anything, like I tell our team all the time. And I'm sure the other coaches have their own statements of how they view it, but it really all comes back to that. So no surprise whatsoever with how the Big Ten's playing.
Go.
Nicole Auerbach, USA Today. Tom, I know senior night was an emotional night, and just about can you just talk about what that senior class has meant for the program and how they'll always be able to come back and know that they had a huge impact on the revival of the program?
Well, they've established a legacy. There's no question about that because they were the ones that came back, and still in a short recruiting period at that point with them, even though we knew some of them a little bit longer. But they were the ones that came back, that had other opportunities to go other places, and that they came because it was a great tradition, because they felt they'd have an opportunity, and even at that point they had no true idea what they were getting into. And to have all of them be the ones that had to go through it without the upperclassmen, without the leaders in front of them, showing them the way, teaching them the way, helping them. I mean, I always knew that that was a big deal. But now when you look at the last couple of years, the way our juniors and seniors have helped the young guys, then you really realize how much they missed. And it's like a part of their childhood they'll never get back. You know, when you come into a program at that age and you are expected to go into this great, bona fide, you know, excellent league from top to bottom and compete in it night in and night out and be held responsible and accountable for those results without ever going through it before with anybody to show you how, that's a really big thing, really big thing. So I think it's shaped them. I think it's helped them. I don't think there's any question that they've all grown. I think there's an uncommon bond with those guys, and it's fun to see. I've been around that uncommon bond before, and years later you see how it still manifests itself, especially with being an assistant at Michigan State or being the head coach at Marquette. You see that come to life, and I don't think it's going to be any different with this group.
Hi, Coach. Steve Andrus, WDRB-TV in Louisville. Could you share a story or maybe some insight into how ultra-competitive Will Sheehy is? He was in the locker room and was locked up tighter than Fort Knox when everybody asked him about scouting reports.
Well, I'm not, that's probably not a good area for me. I just love Will's competitiveness, and I love his attitude. He's a force of energy. He's one of the best athletes combined with smarts and competitiveness that I've ever been around, that I've ever had the privilege to coach. He gets better. He's been a huge, huge part of how our work ethic in the program, along with Victor and Jordan Halls, was established, where if you weren't in the gym doing extra, you felt guilty because those guys were. But they're also a great example of what happens when you do spend that kind of time. Will takes a backseat to no one when it comes to extra work, when it comes to the abilities that he has. What he has that's really unique is he's got an incredible future. I think he's going to be an NBA player. But when basketball is all said and done, way down the line, he'll be one of the finest coaches that I could imagine if he wants to do that. I mean, if he ends up wanting to do that down the road, he's got such an attitude and an ability to see things and talk his teammates through it that when he does that, it's like having an extra player on the floor. It's like having an extra coach on the floor in practice, for one thing. But he's got a real sense of what it takes to be successful. And so that's why I appreciate him so much.
Chase Senior, PhillyHoops.com. Coach, you mentioned Khalif Wyatt and his offensive capabilities. He's not the biggest or strongest guy, but what type of elements of his game make him so hard to defend?
Well, he knows he's really good. I don't know the young man, but he knows he's really good. You can tell that there's no moment that's too big for him. You know, the bigger the stage, it doesn't make any difference, I would think. I mean, just to have the success that he's had. And he can get it to the rim. He can score in a pull-up. He can make threes from range, and he can find his teammates. And so when you have somebody like that can hurt you and beat you from so many different aspects of his game, that makes him that much more of a dangerous opponent. But they've got an excellent team. They get great spacing. And you can't become so locked into him that you forget about everybody else, and that's going to be a real key.
Usually your starters played sparingly, Coach, up to 10 to 20 minutes for most of them. Temple starters played up to 35 to 40. Has that going to change the game at all in terms of fatigue and how much you want to run the court?
I don't think it changes as much this time of year. I do think those timeouts play into this a little bit, the 20-minute halftime. I think all that adds into it. And really, we've tried to pace our season four times like this and not to have – plus, you want to develop the quality of your bench. There's been some days it's been good. There's been some days it hasn't been as good. But you want to develop that. You don't want to wear out your starters, and because you do want to play at a certain pace. But I don't know how relevant that is this time of year personally.
Coach, I know he's affected the team in other areas throughout the season, but how important has it been to have Remy shooting the ball the way he has the last few games for you guys off the bench?
Remy's been fantastic, and he just continues to work on his game with great diligence throughout the season. And he's had some real good moments and stretches for us, but certainly in the last few weeks, his confidence has continued to soar again. And it's important because then it's like we've got, when he's playing the way he's capable of, it's like having 7 starters.
Tom, can you elaborate back here? Can you elaborate on coaching against Fran Dunphy? And not sure if you ever did when you were at Marquette, but what does that element add to this game?
No, I haven't never had the chance, but I've had a lot of respect for him. He's always treated me really well. I don't know him great, but we have some mutual friends, and he's just an excellent basketball coach. I mean, you watch his teams, and now especially watching them, but I've watched them since Penn. So watching his teams now, you just see that there's no they're not going to get surprised. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to have an answer for everything. You can just see that in the quality of their play, and there's a poise under pressure. You know, I think that all stems from him, you know, and from what I observe. But this time of year, you're going to be going against great coaches all the time, and there's certainly no question that he is and has been one for a very long time.